This girl had an accident in the middle of the desert, and now she is being hunted by real mutants. Where did they come from, and will she live to see the morning? Let's find out from the recap of the movie Hostile. A girl named Juliet is driving across the wasteland in an attempt to find some food. There is only desert, wrecked cars, and remains of the bodies around. She arrives at an abandoned gas station, but there is no one alive here either. Juliet enters a small grocery store, expecting to find some food, but it's empty. The tired Juliet sits down in a chair. She takes off a cap and a buff from her face. We see that she is a young and pretty girl. All of a sudden, some noise comes from under the roof of the store. Juliet raises her gun. Someone starts growling above her. Hearing such creepy noises, the girl runs outside. Some man contacts Juliet on the radio in the car. Apparently, they live in the same camp. The girl tells him that she was looking for food at the gas station, but instead found some kind of a growling creature. Juliet is advised not to go there under any circumstances. We learn that the population of the camp is almost 40 people, and there is a catastrophic food shortage for all of them. Juliet tries to take a shortcut on her way to the camp. She notices a large van parked in the middle of the wasteland. The girl takes a gun and sets off to explore it. The protagonist finds a lot of red stains on the van and a man sitting next to it. He is seriously wounded in the abdomen. Juliet points a gun at the poor man. She demands that the man take his hands off the wound so she can assess how bad it is. He complies with her request. The girl realizes that the man was wounded by some kind of a monster. He admits that it's trapped in his van. Juliet asks if there is anything to eat and learns that there are 12 cans of food. The badly wounded man asks the girl to relieve his suffering, but Juliet refuses, not wanting to waste a bullet. She advises the poor man to remove his hands from the wound. In that case, he will quickly go to the other world because of blood loss. Juliet unlocks the van and goes inside. Someone growls. She shoots. We hear the sound of fighting and the girl screaming. Another shot rings out and all sound goes silent. The girl has defeated this monster after all. She gets out of the van and sees that the man is already lying on the ground. Juliet takes his canned food and also a flask of alcohol. On her way back to the camp, she stares at a photo in her car. The picture shows her and her boyfriend Jack. The photo is suddenly blown outside by the wind. Juliet loses control of the vehicle and gets into an accident. We go back in time to the period when life on Earth was still normal. Juliet comes to a New York gallery to see an exhibition of a famous artist, Francis Bacon. A young man named Jack approaches her. He is the owner of this gallery. Jack realizes that she is here by an accident. Juliet admits that she entered the gallery to hide from the rain. The man treats her to a glass of wine and tells her about Bacon's masterpieces. His paintings seem very ugly, but there is an inner beauty hidden behind them. Juliet and Jack leave the gallery to walk around the city. The man brings his new friend to his house and she realizes that Jack is incredibly rich. They drink whiskey with French cheese and chat through the night. All of a sudden, Juliet grabs her stuff and leaves Jack's house. The man doesn't understand what's wrong. After a while, they meet by chance in one of the bars. Juliet's companion takes her outside, and Jack follows them. He sees the man gives the girl money, and she gives him some white powder. Jack keeps following Juliet and sees her talking to a local dealer in a disadvantaged neighborhood. The man catches up with the girl and asks her for a serious talk. The girl brings Jack into her small dark apartment and makes tea while trying to clean up the kitchen. We realize that Juliet is also one of the dealers. Moreover, she uses illegal substances herself. Jack doesn't judge the girl and wants to help her. She refuses and chases him away. Some time passes. Jack is at home, drinking whiskey and drawing in his sketchbook. Suddenly, an exhausted Juliet comes to his place and falls right into his arms. The man helps the girl to take a bath and sees that she has been beaten up. He wipes the red marks from her face and body and puts her to bed. In the morning, Juliet thanks him for the help but admits that she needs another dose of the illegal substances. She is willing to look for them anywhere, but Jack doesn't let the girl out of the house despite her tears, hysterics and screams. After a while, Juliet manages to overcome her dangerous addiction. She and Jack fall in love with each other and move into a spacious new house. It looks incredibly expensive and luxurious. The man shows his beloved the living room, bedroom and the children's room. He dreams of having a baby with Juliet. Soon, the girl informs Jack that she is pregnant. The man is overjoyed by these news. However, the happiness of the lovers doesn't last long, since the baby never took its first breath. Juliet suffers a lot. She blames herself and her unhealthy lifestyle. Jack does his best to support her. Their relationship is getting worse by each passing day. They often quarrel and even break up after another scandal. Juliet is sitting in a bar drinking whiskey. The breaking news reports a chemical attack in the New York subway. The girl's phone rings. She is informed that Jack is in the hospital. Juliet learns that her beloved is one of the few people who were in the subway at the time and survived the chemical attack. It is not clear which particular gas the criminals used, so it's still unclear what the effects of such contamination might be. Jack is in a very serious condition and can't talk. The girl asks for his forgiveness. He lies in a separate ward and communicates with Juliet via notes on a small board. The man writes to his sweetheart that he loves her and asks her to never give up. The next day, Jack is taken away from the hospital. Juliet doesn't know where exactly he has been sent, and she sobs in the empty ward. Let's return to the present time. Juliet is recovering from the accident. It's night outside. The girl is alive, but she has many cuts and abrasions. And worst of all, her leg is broken. It is an open fracture, which means that the situation is critical. Juliet spots her gun on the ground near the car and tries to reach for it, at first with her hand and then with a stick, but she fails. The girl takes a sip of alcohol from the flask and pours it onto the wound. It hurts like hell. She heroically sets the broken bone back. Juliet picks up the radio and tries to call for help, but all she gets in response is empty radio static. Some kind of a creature growls nearby. It is probably one of those creatures that were at the gas station. It approaches the vehicle, and the girl finally reaches for her gun. We see that the creature has human legs. Apparently, it was once a normal human being. The man from the camp responds to Juliet on the radio, but the loud voice draws the mutant's attention. Realizing that it's about to crawl into her car, Juliet throws the radio outside. The creature finds it and smashes it, after which it attempts to get inside the vehicle. A second mutant growls from afar, and the first creature walks away. Taking advantage of the moment, Juliet gets out of the car and picks up the broken radio. The same monster appears next to her, and the girl hurries back inside the cabin. She holds the gun and is ready to fight for her life. The mutant grabs her leg, but she manages to fight back and make several shots. Juliet repairs the broken radio and contacts her camp. A man named Harry informs her that she must turn on the radar beacon. With its help, the girl can be located and rescued. Juliet finds this beacon, reads the instructions and turns it on. At that moment, she is attacked again by one of the mutants. It tries to grab the girl's leg, but once again she manages to fight back and barricade one of the doors. Harry contacts the girl on the radio. He informs her that a rescue team is on its way. Seeing a mutant near the car, Juliet turns on the headlights, and the bright lights scare the monsters away for a while. Harry hears the mutant growl over the radio, and suddenly declares that no one will rescue her in the middle of the night, because it's very dangerous. The men from the camp won't arrive until morning. The girl is furious because she will hardly live to see the morning. Juliet honks for a long time, hoping someone will hear her and come to her rescue. It works! A car appears nearby. There are 2 raiders in it, but instead of saving her, one of them attacks the girl. The same mutant sneaks up from behind and cuts the bandit's life short. His companion immediately drives away. Losing hope for salvation, Juliet loads her gun and bids farewell to her life. At this moment, she remembers Jack's words, who asked her to never give up, and lowers the gun. The girl decides to get rid of the mutant. She takes a can of gasoline out of the van and makes a trap. Juliet lights a bright flare and approaches the dangerous creature. Having learned it to the gasoline canister, the girl blows it up. Alas, the mutant is only slightly wounded. He sneaks up from behind. Juliet drops her gun. She barely manages to crawl into the vehicle and pick up her weapon. But the monster pulls her and throws her to the ground. The girl fires, and the wounded mutant falls beside her. A new day is dawning. A half-dead mutant crawls up to Juliet lying on the ground. The girl thinks he is about to finish her off and quickly reloads her pistol. However, the mutant runs his hand over the girl's face, just as Jack once did to cheer her up. That's when Juliet realizes that this is her beloved and recalls their first meeting in the gallery. The girl hugs the mutant Jack and confesses her love for him. She picks up the gun, puts her head next to his head and fires the shot. The photo with Juliet and Jack symbolically flies into the air.